Hello and welcome to Matchday Live. We are live at the Estadio Bernabeu and I'm joined by Manchester City legend making her Matchday Live away debut, Steph Houghton, as you are watching our players arrive here in Madrid. There's Nathan Ake, Phil Foden as well. What a game we've got in store for us.
Oh wow, I think this last couple of days has been actually so overwhelming. I feel as though to be part of this Champions League football, what a game to play against Real Madrid. You know the history over the last 4 or 5 years and hopefully we can do it.
Absolutely, and there is Erling Haaland coming through as well. Now, I mean, what a start to the show we've just had, because the sprinklers just started soaking us as soon as it was our cue.
You moved a bit weird there, FG, actually.
Yeah, a little bit stiff. Played a bit of paddle this morning with Steph in Madrid, and I've pulled my back because she's an athlete and I'm not. But welcome to Matchday Live. Welcome to Pitchside.
Oh, this is amazing, isn't it? It's just actually so surreal, and I'm just so excited for us to get going.
Yeah, listen, and let's get going straight away, shall we? Let's reveal the Manchester City starting lineup for the game here in Madrid. In goal is Ederson, and then is Kushinov, and then we have John Stones. Our captain this evening is Ruben Diaz, and then Josko Vardiol as well makes up the back four, and then a start for Nico, Ilkay Gundogan, and a start for Bernardo Silva as well. And moving on to our forward line, our 47, one of our own, Phil Foden, our 26, Savinho, and of course leading the line, number 7, hat-trick at the weekend, Omar Marmoush. Now then, Steph, we've seen the starting lineup. It's got to be one that fills you with confidence.
Yeah, it really does, especially after that performance against Newcastle, especially Mamouche. I think he was obviously frightening. Hat-trick at the weekend, but also Savinho. I've been really impressed with him all these last few games, but I think the main people that we've been speaking about was Nico, so it's going to be so interesting. His first start in Champions League football for the club, and just to see how he plays against the best players. I'm just so excited to see. It's a young team, and let's hope we can get the job done.
It is a young team indeed. I mean, let's start. It's only right with you being here to start with the defence, shall we? Kushinov, are we predicting him to play a right back? Vinny Jr., of course, we know how quick he is. And on the other perspective, we know how quick Kushinov is as well.
Yeah, I think we were speaking about it before. I think obviously Stones can play there, but I feel as though his experience in the middle of the pitch against Mbappe is probably going to be needed. But we speak about his pace, Kushinov, and it just seems the most likely replacement to go in that right back position. And of course he's a young kid, he's probably got limited experience at this level, especially against Vinicius, but look, these games you've got to get tested, and hopefully he can do the job tonight. Yeah,
these are the games that you absolutely love, and I mean City fans absolutely love Ruben Diaz and John Stones playing in the side. We had such a good moment with them two playing at centre half together, you know, during lockdown essentially and stuff. Do you think it would be nice to see them playing here together in the back four? They know each other so well.
I think that's the frustration for Manchester City this season, is that we've not had them players available at the same time, and Ruben Diaz got the captain's armband tonight, and you can see he's going to be the next leader of this club without a doubt. So, and John Stones, especially the last game against Real Madrid, probably playing in a higher role in midfield. He did really well there, but his position is at the back, and he can bring the ball from the back, and he can make Mbappe work, I'm hoping. So that spine needs experience, and them two have it in abundance.
And a man who's played a lot this season for Manchester City and played very, very well is Josko Vardiol.
How good is he?
He is incredible. I mean, we saw him in the first leg. He was brilliant in the first leg. He had a real big say on one of Erling's goals as well. He just brings so much, doesn't he? Because the modern day football fullback under Pep Guardiola offers so much than just the defensive side of the game.
You know what it is? I think people don't really underestimate how much kind of intelligence you have to have in them sort of positions. And Guardiola come here, I think people are a little bit unsure of him, but especially this season, I feel as though in a side where we struggled a little bit this season, I think he's been one of our main players, and that attack and threat. I mean, God, I don't know how many goals he's scored this season, but he's definitely had a lot of kind of feature in assisting or scoring.
And now, of course, a start for Nico. It's so nice to see somebody essentially filling that Rodri void. We miss Rodri so much, the best player in the world. We'll say that again whilst we're here in Madrid. The Ballon d'Or winner. Nico was fantastic at the weekend, and it seemed like the players around him, you know, the Ilkay Gundogan, etc., seemed a lot more free because they knew they had that protection behind them.
I think if players have that confidence, you know that the guy that's playing that position is a good player. And of course, we haven't seen enough of him, and it's only one game, so that consistency is going to be key, because Rodri's done it for so many years. But I feel as though you don't want to pigeonhole him into being a Rodri. You want them to be able to play together at some point. But I feel as though to have that person in front of you, especially as a back four, but also the likes of Gundogan and Bernardo or Phil today, to have someone that's going to stay there and allow you to run forward, I think we're looking for a good game today. Yeah,
we're looking for goals as well, and one of the men who created one of the goals by winning the penalty was Phil Foden. He was so confident taking on his fullback. We expect him, and we want to see more of that from Phil, don't we? He scored here before, a postage stamp Phil Foden finish.
Phil, I feel as though I've spoken about Phil for the last 2 seasons, but that's just a mark of a great player. And you know what, players like Phil are made for nights like this. You know, when you need someone to kind of take the game by the scruff of the neck and kind of show his ability, and you know what, hopefully he'll get a bit of a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we're here live in Madrid. I think it's only right to head to the studio, a very defensive studio, 2 goalkeepers and Natalie Pike. What position do you think Nat would play, Steph?
I don't know, but I hope JMO and Nikki can keep a lid on Nat for tonight in terms of her celebrations, but hopefully we're celebrating a lot tonight.
No, hopefully we are celebrating a lot. We had a great time in Istanbul. Over to you guys in Manchester. I hope you can hear us loud and clear.
We can hear you loud and clear, FG and Steph. Thank you so much. It's a delight to have Steph on the show tonight. And then David James and Steve Howey, let's hope that they are containing my celebrations and are not putting an arm around me and trying to console me later on.
To be honest, we didn't really expect to be on the wall like that. We're actually...
No, I know, we just started to turn away then.
We turned away and then we saw each other and we were like, oh, hello, guys. But yeah, hope you're doing well. JMO, you're looking very cosy as always.
I'm dressed in blue. When I left the house, someone said, oh, you supporting City tonight? And I was like, well,
Always, JMO.
Of course. But in my attire...
Always.
I've gone for a serious blue look.
Nat, from a fan's perspective, Nat, how are you feeling?
Do you know what, FG? Amazingly, I feel absolutely fine, because I cannot remember a time in the history of City, of doing this show over the last 10 years, where we're not the favourites to win a game. And so this underdog mentality, I like it, FG. How about you?
Yeah, I'm all right, feeling quite good. Like I mentioned, pulled my back playing paddle this morning, but it's nice to have Steph here. We've had a lot of fun today.
We'll see what happens in the next half hour or so. We'll see if he's okay.
Off topic, Steph, but how bad is he at paddle? How good is he at paddle?
Oh, well, it's funny you should ask.
Okay, go on, you have your moment.
No, it's all right. I'll let you, please, I'll let you. Thanks,
I'm a bit of a sore loser, so I got beat today, but you know what, to be fair, your serves are good.
No!
Yeah, I would, yeah.
So the underdog won in the paddle. That sets up this game of football perfectly for me.
He practices all the time, Nat. How's that an underdog?
You're an athlete and I'm not. I've got a back
retired
injury
athlete.
now. So, yeah, look.
FG,
listen, we'll just leave you two. You can dissect that.
Okay.
Listen, we can have a paddle tournament soon, but let's try and win it today, shall we?
Right, FG, go and have a sit-down, mate, with that back, because you must have put in a shift in that paddle game. Thank you so much, Steph. I am absolutely shook by the idea that FG won against Steph. Against Steph Houghton. Let's hope that is not the only thing that shocks us tonight, and let's fingers crossed by the end of the day we are talking about a big Manchester City win. And of course, I'm so happy to be joined in the studio by David James and by Steve Howey. And can we just take a moment, please, to just applaud Steve Howey's effort for being here this evening. We appreciate the dedication and commitment to this show, Steve, because where were you this morning?
I flew in from Thailand, so got into Manchester at 7, and then have to drive home to the northeast, which took me 3 hours to drop my wife off, and then back in the car, back down here.
So you have flown in from Thailand for this show, which is hugely appreciated. But JMO, you always put effort in. You've always come from somewhere far away.
Cambridgeshire.
Yeah, okay.
Via Macclesfield.
I think that's quite far.
5 hours.
The effort to be on this show tonight is very much appreciated. Thank you very much to both of you. I'm thrilled to have your company, and thank you all for joining us for Matchday Live tonight. Of course, it is an 8 p.m. kickoff in the Champions League against Real Madrid. You'll get your full match commentary from Alistair Mann and from Nikki Weaver, and we'll be speaking to Weaves a little bit later, hopefully, and getting his thoughts ahead of the game. So, gents, we have the team news. The big news for me straight away, obviously, your eyes are drawn to the fact that Erling Haaland is on the bench today. Obviously, he went off in the Newcastle game. He picked up... it looked like a worrying off-the-ball injury, but then we saw him in training. He's on the bench tonight. Are we thinking, Steve, for you, is that precautionary?
Possibly. I mean, obviously, you know, the manager and the players will know what's kind of gone on. I mean, Pep will have probably spoken to Erling before, had a chat. We don't know how serious. I mean, yes, we've seen him training, but at the same time, he's probably looked at it. And of course, with Mamouche, who obviously got the 3 goals at the weekend as well, whose confidence must be sky high, manager obviously clearly thinks that the team he's putting out is a team which he feels can go on and win the game. And you know, if you've got a player like Erling Haaland, you don't want to risk it, you know, because you don't want to lose him for weeks and weeks. So it probably is precautionary. But as I said, to probably get the ins and outs, probably have to ask the manager.
Yeah, so, I mean, of course, what a player to have on the bench as well. Should we need him to come off? In terms of positives from the weekend, there was so many positives to speak about. Now, obviously, we'll get on to Mamouche a little bit later with his hat-trick, but I want to just spend some time, David, just giving some appreciation to Nico, or Mini Rodri, as Pep has labelled him. Best nickname ever. I'm sure he's thrilled with that. How impressed were you with his home debut, his first full debut for the club?
Fantastic. I mean, the result itself was fantastic. Obviously, as you said, Mamouche will get the headlines, rightly so, for the hat-trick. But I just think that the way that Nico and effectively the whole team made Newcastle look pretty average, which was a difficult task against a side who are full of confidence at the moment. But he was seamless in his performance in the game. So I think another one of those tonight, and we'll be happy.
We'll be happy and love that positivity. Were you able to get the game in Thailand?
Well, obviously on social media, I follow Man City, and I got the highlights from that. But I got extended highlights on like a kind of a YouTubey thing. So I watched the game from there, and the performance did look good. I mean, yes, there was criticism about Newcastle, but you know, the way that you can look at it's basically because of the way that Man City played, rather than how poorly Newcastle were. I think you just look at it that way. I mean, of course, the Newcastle manager comes out and says what he says, but I just thought the performance from Manchester City against, let's be honest, a decent Newcastle team was excellent.
Can't believe you missed the Steve Howey derby. Must have been
one
heck of a holiday.
I don't think the wife would have been too pleased if I'm watching a game of football whilst we're on our holiday, but there you go.
The Steve Howey derby needs to be in there. In terms of Nico, what do you feel that he brought to the team that perhaps we have been missing since Rodri has been out?
Well, first and foremost is that protection in front of the back four. I think, you know, defenders do like that, you know, when they've got that added bit of security just in front of them. Communication is a huge point as well, but you know, it just seems like one of these players that even if he's not shouting and screaming, you know, on the pitch, just his performance, his movement, as I said, just that security in front of them, getting the ball, passing it easy. I mean, I think in some ways he's kind of happy with the label with Rodri, but I'm pretty sure he'll want to be his own player, so he wants to be just Nico himself. But you know, what a performance to start with, and I think players seeing that and fans seeing that as well, I think they can kind of breathe a sigh of relief, because obviously you haven't got Rodri there, but what a performance to start with.
Yeah, he's been drawing praise from everybody for the last few days, of course, also including Pep in his press conference. Let's hear what a few of our favourite people have been saying about Nico.
The presence for Nico helped us a lot. Remember, like a mini Rodri.
Just slipped into that position and just controlled the midfield, didn't he? The way he moved the ball and everything, you know, he didn't give the ball away, and there was just a fluency to the play. His contribution, his link-up play, his keeping the team together, keeping the ball moving, reading the situation, intercepting balls was just, he made everything look so simple, which is not as easy task in the Premier League.
I think in Oporto, Sergio Conceição helped us a lot to bring his football, the part of aggressive and be smart and how play different type of games. He's so young, 23. Remember, like a mini Rodri, in terms of, it's a big compliment, but he's had the feeling for the present, the big, you know, that have the duels, and the other one, of course, is miles away from Rodri. Rodri is the best, but of course, I had the feeling, everyone had the feeling, his mates, that he's going to help us. This was part of the season, his presence, long balls and backwards, and these kind of things with Rodri was really important. I had the feeling that the club contact, and both an incredible player for the future in terms of mentality.
And also his influence on the game, when he's vociferous,
Yes.
direction, pulling people about, in the referee's ear, in the opposition's ear. Like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to slip in. I'm here to, for you to know that I've arrived. And I felt that today about him.
It's such a great point from Andy Morrison, because I hadn't noticed till just then the way that Nico gave Erling Haaland a friendly tap on the bum there. Like, Erling Haaland, the captain, Erling Haaland. And, all right, mate, love that spot from Andy Morrison. So very excited to see how Nico is going to do tonight. Of course, he'll be alongside some other gems in the midfield. We heard from Bernardo Silva in the press conference this week as well. Bernardo Silva starts tonight. What are you hoping to see from him in the game tonight, David?
I think it's going to be really interesting, because the way that Madrid play, especially with Nico as well, Nico, just going back to him, they'll leave players up when City are attacking, which means someone's going to have to stay back. With regards to Bernardo on the ball, it all depends on where Mamouche is going to be playing. We're just having a quick discussion when we first saw the team there. It's whether Mamouche is going to be playing wide, or what you would imagine down the middle, and how Bernardo is going to link in with him, obviously with Phil Foden and what he did in the first leg. I think Bernardo is going to have a major supplying role rather than, hopefully he'll score 3 goals, but I think he will be more of a conduit in this game than he will be the attacking threat. But with the 3 up front, Savinho, Foden and Mamouche, I think Bernardo will be quite happy to pass the ball on to someone else to do all the damage.
I like the word conduit. Very good use of that word. I don't think that word's ever been used in this programme, ever, David. If you wanted to have a conduit, though, you would definitely pick Bernardo Silva, because he's likely to run the most on the whole pitch, as always.
Yeah, well, it's actually just as well I'd looked up that word a few weeks ago, so I knew what it meant. Otherwise, I would have been struggling. But, I mean, we all know how good he is. I mean, he is wonderful on the ball. But as Jimo sort of said, it'll be interesting. The player will have to look to see how Real Madrid set up themselves. And I do agree. I think when City are attacking, I think they're quite happy by leaving some players a little bit forward, kind of cheating, if you want. So that, if they do lose the ball possession, they're going to have to get back as well. But on the ball, we all know how capable he is. So it'll be very, very interesting to see, his impact on the game tonight.
I loved his press conference as well, because he was very bullish in that press conference, David, and he was very forthright in saying, "No, we believe in ourselves. We can do this. Like, we're not worried." I think he said something along those like, the players, they don't need to get up for this game because they're world class players, and I love that attitude that we get from him.
That's the only way he can be. I think it's quite fitting, isn't it? It's a knockout game at the home of the best team in Europe over the last decade or so. So if you're not up for it, then you wouldn't even be on the bus, so to speak. But I think what's interesting, going back to Newcastle, going quickly, Ederson's play with Erling Haaland, and Nico was involved in this, kind of separating the gap for Ederson to play low and long into Erling's feet. And
Explain that a little bit more. What did Nico do in that?
Well, the way City normally set up, Ederson doesn't have a clear path along the ground to Erling Haaland. It's usually over the top. But they created a little gap, and Ederson was playing these side foot balls effectively into the halfway line. And I was looking, I haven't seen this before. So it repeated itself, especially in the first half. And if that's a tactic that Pep wants to use today, obviously with Erling on the bench, it won't happen. But it doesn't stop Mamouche, Foden, Bernardo Silva coming in and receiving those balls. It could be interesting, because I don't think Madrid would be expecting that either.
Okay. I love that, thank you. Of course, in terms of other midfielders, Kevin De Bruyne is on the bench tonight, Steve. We know still from, you mentioned, we were talking earlier about the Brentford performance from Kevin De Bruyne. If we need to, and if we can get Kevin De Bruyne on that pitch in the second half, should we need to, and he is in that sort of mood against Brentford, he's going to be really key towards the end of the game.
Well, he's a top player, fantastic ability. I can remember, I think it was last season, I think he'd been out a while, and then he came back against Newcastle and he completely and utterly changed the game. I think he scored a goal and then set up the winning goal. That's what he's capable of. So when the manager looks at his bench and sees his players there, he's thinking, right, I've got no problem whatsoever putting you in here. And of course, you talk about going to that stadium and it can be daunting for some players, but I think people like him, well, pretty much all of the Man City players, this is where you want to play football. You know, this is what, when you're growing up as a kid, this is where you want to perform. This is where you want the ball. This is where you want to show everybody how good you are. And obviously Kevin's one of those players. I mean, this strike here, I mean, Courtois was a good goalkeeper. He's got absolutely no chance. He just hits across it, spins it away from the goalkeeper, so it's just got that bit of swerve on it. Goalkeeper's got absolutely no chance. Top player.
Loves the game at the Bernabeu as well, does our Kev. Of course, that was him scoring in the game 2 years ago, the treble season, of course, as well. So you can see, if you're just joining us, welcome to Matchday Live. The starting 11 is on the bottom of your screen there. 8 p.m. kickoff. Under an hour now until City take on Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. How are you all doing? How are the nerves? I am strangely calm this evening. Now, we are here in the studio, thrilled to be with David, James and Steve Howey, but over in the Bernabeu is, oh my goodness.
Oh, well, we're just, look, I told you.
Guys.
Sorry about that, guys. Look, I told you I've aged a lot since playing paddle. Right. We didn't actually get the cue in our ears. Cheers to that, producers.
FG, please don't scare Steph off.
I feel a bit looser now.
We want Steph to come back on this show
she's
regularly.
Helping me out here. Captain, leader, legend,
stretching
physio.
at the Bernabeu.
She's got it all. Still good at paddle as well. I reckon she'd beat you.
Yeah. Absolutely, FG, she would. I wouldn't even challenge her. I'm not that silly. Right, let's go over to you guys. You do the Real Madrid team, and I'll stay here and see if David, James or Steve Howey can give me some stretches.
Perfect. Yeah, we expected something when we come back to the studio. Definitely. Let's reveal then, shall we? The Real Madrid starting 11. In goal is Courtois. And then it's Valverde, Rudiger, Asensio, Mendy, Tchouaméni, Ceballos, Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe. Now, it's worth noting when we look at that starting 11 from a defensive point of view, Rudiger is back. He's back from an injury. Potentially, I mean, it's been a few weeks. How do you think it's going to be for him in terms of match sharpness going into a game against the 4 in a row Premier League champions?
Obviously, watched him over the last few seasons, I feel as though he's a character that's up for anything. He's got so much energy. You know, he's a bit crazy at times, but he's got a lot of experience. But I think in terms of that match sharpness, I think until you play matches, you haven't got that. So this will be so interesting, him coming back into this team. I mean, you look at the number of names there, they are some world-class superstars, and it's a strong team, and probably Real Madrid's strongest team, which is complement to City. Yeah, it is an absolute compliment to Manchester City. They've got their players fit. They've tried really hard to bring players back. Valverde's an interesting one, a very energetic player. It seems to be working for him at full-back right now. Vasquez is back in the picture, but he's not starting the game, and they've chosen to go with Valverde. With the likes of Nico, Gundogan and Bernardo, players who like to keep possession in midfield, will they miss his energy, do you think? You know what, I actually do think so. I think that's his main strength, especially at the Etihad. He was up and down, and he was trying to create things, especially in them last 10-15 minutes where Real Madrid started to get on top of us, which wasn't great. But at the same time, I think Valverde is a big player, and no matter who will play in that position, is going to be a superstar.
Look at that, live on Matchday Live. We've got the arrivals of Real Madrid as well as us at the start of the show. The likes of Courtois as well. He's had some fantastic appearances against Manchester City. I mean, the 4-0 game, I mean, was crazy in terms of... But there was a game where he played and he was saving everything. Erling Haaland couldn't score a goal past him at the Etihad at one point. He is so key, isn't he? Yeah, he is. He's massive for this team, for the way that they play out, but also in their moments. I think JMO's probably a better person to speak about in terms of keeping, but I feel as though every time he has played against Manchester City and he has played against us, he's always been in them big moments, being able to pull out a great save, and hopefully we can kind of create them chances tonight, and he doesn't have such a good game in front of us tonight. I mean, when you look at the Real Madrid team as well, I mean, the last 3 names I read out, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, they speak for themselves. World-renowned superstars. Massive occasion for them. They probably relish moments like this, don't they? Without a doubt, and you could see that last week at the Etihad. Like, we spoke to Steve McManaman before, and the Real Madrid mentality is this is their competition, and we want to try and stop that as much as possible, especially this season. But I think when you've got the likes of Vinicius, Bellingham, I think seeing him in the flesh last week and how he performed, and actually his physicality, I think you understand why he's got every single bit of the game, and he's able to control the game that he has. And Mbappe, that's probably the best performance I've seen of him at the Etihad, even when he was at PSG. And
he just has an influence on games in terms of his speed, but Vinicius, he is a class above.
Do you think there'll be a lot of pressure on this Real Madrid side? Because I know they're winning from the first leg, but I mean, there is a massive expectation for them to win here against us and to go through. Do you think they'll feel that pressure, this group of players?
I think you can either go two ways, which is to kind of thrive on it and really kind of pull out a performance, and I think it's up to us to try and stifle this money. But look, I think we've been around Madrid today, we've kind of created the atmosphere in terms of the fans on the bus on the way in. There's expectation, and I think we're hoping now that Man City put a stop to that tonight.
Yeah, believe me, we are hoping. I mean, it's worth mentioning as well, Tchouaméni is in midfield tonight. We saw him
He's not
in
bad,
the back
is he?
four. He's a great player, very versatile.
Yeah.
His best position, of course, is midfield, but he did very well at centre-half as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I was impressed with him. I think people don't realise what that centre-half position is, and I'm going to stick up for my fellow centre-halves. In terms of reading the game, it is totally different, and obviously everything's in front of you, but look, I think he's a world-class midfield player. He slots back into his position tonight, and I feel a bit sorry for Camavinga because I think he actually played really well at the Etihad, so it'll be interesting to see what that balance looks like, and especially against the likes of Nico, Gundogan, Bernardo, with that experience, how that kind of plays out.
Now, from a City perspective as well, Phil Foden will be feeling really confident because he won a penalty against Mendy at the Etihad, and to be honest, he tormented him for a lot of that moment of play, the second half at points as well. He'll be really confident, won't he, that he knows that he's got the beating of him. When you're a defender, from a defender's perspective, if someone's got the better of you in like a week before or in previous games, does that stick in your mind?
Yeah, it's like you and me and paddle today. I got on your head, so no, I mean, Phil has nothing to be but confident. I think he's shown his qualities over the last couple of seasons, and especially he's probably frustrated he didn't start the game last week, but he came on, and I think once you win a penalty and you have that influence as a player, you've got to bring that to tonight, and I hope that we see Phil Foden running at that back four. Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the rest of the evening, of course. This is incredible. Yeah, it's amazing to have you here. Now, I feel like we should go back to the studio, and Nat just closed off saying she was going to learn some stretches.
Yeah, let's see
so
what
let's
you've got,
see them then. Let's see what you've got.
Yeah, we're doing chair stretches
pressure.
here, by the way. We haven't bothered to stand up. We're just doing... yeah, there you go. David James is... Yeah. Oh,
Funnily enough, that actually helps my back.
Yeah, there you go. We've solved your back there. Thank you very much. Thank you. By the way, FG, you're looking very stylish tonight, like a G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I mean, I remember the last two times I've been here and I got absolutely cooked by you for dressing one year not smart enough and then last year too smart. So I went for like...
You're worrying all day and you look fine.
You've always got to worry when Nat's judging you, because she's stylish. So I'm glad. I'll take the compliment.
Steph's really clearly rubbed off on you. I like it.
We tried to go shopping this afternoon. We didn't have enough time.
I was too busy on the paddle court.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, FG. Thank you so much, Steph. Loving having Steph on Matchday Live. So that is the Real Madrid team news. And, of course, just the one change from the team, of course, that played us last week. And the news that Rudiger is back in the starting 11 tonight. But, of course, the news that Rudiger's back, we all thought we might be talking about a Rudiger-Haaland battle again. But, of course, Haaland is on the bench tonight. Pep Guardiola has said in his pre-match interview that although he did train yesterday, he spoke to him today, and Haaland didn't feel quite right. So that is the reason that he is on the bench tonight. So we're not going to see a Rudiger-Haaland matchup again, Steve.
Yeah, I would have been. I mean, you like them battles. I mean, there's going to be battles all the way around the pitch. When 1v1s, and I think it's up to try and win as many 1v1s as you possibly can. But ultimately, because there's such brilliant individuals there, it only takes 1 second to actually score a goal. So, but that one, the Rudiger one, I mean, he's one of them players where he's kind of Marmite. You either love him or hate him. And he's one of these ones as well where if he's in your team, obviously you do like him because he's just annoying for forwards. Forwards don't like him because he's arms and legs. He's probably one of these that'll stand on your foot and, hit you in the back. And he's just proper annoying. But you definitely would want him in your team. He's got that run as well. When he kind of opens his legs up and sprints, he does that kind of funny one, really. It's kind of, people's like, well, why is he doing that? But I think sometimes he just does it to wind people up. But he's very, very good at it. But it'll be interesting to see how he sort of matches up against Mamouche, because it's obviously a completely different player, really, from Erling Haaland. Erling does like the physicality of it. So it'll be an interesting match-up tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I bet they are very happy to have him back in their starting 11 this evening. Now, David James, you are well known on this programme for being an absolute not a stato, and you hit me with a great one before we came on. Will you share your stat, please?
Which one?
Your penalty stat.
Oh, yeah. So 4 of Real Madrid's last 5 goals conceded in all competitions has been penalties.
Okay, now I was sat and thought about processing that for a bit. What do you think that tells us about them lately?
Well, they're just a really dirty team. No. I take that back. That was a joke. Think about the Phil Foden penalty that was gained. In a bad way, if you thought tonight was going to be anywhere easy, you have to work hard to get opportunities. And Phil Foden had to work hard to get into a position to draw the penalty from Mendy, to give Erling Haaland the chance to score. And I think that is essentially what you're dealing with. And when you've got Rudiger in there, the one thing that I think Steve touched on it there is you don't like about playing against him is his physicality, his confidence and everything. The one thing that could go against him today, as Steph said, is the fact that he hasn't been playing. And it just needs one mistimed challenge that could lead to the penalty. With Mamouche's pace, with Savinho's pace, with Phil Foden's trickery, there's a perfect alignment for this to occur. It just depends who's on him and when they get the opportunities to do it. But
I like that.
Yeah, and the other thing, and obviously Courtois was mentioned there, he's in pretty good form at the moment. He made an outstanding save on the weekend. But he's playing for Real Madrid, one of the best teams in the world. You'd expect their goalkeeper to be half decent. And if Manchester City, or when Manchester City progress, it's beating the best team at their home. Well, you've got to beat some pretty good players to do that.
Are you trying to make us all feel better, or do you believe that?
No, but this is the thing. It's really weird because it's a knockout for the knockouts, but it's a knockout which Real Madrid traditionally don't mind playing in. No matter how it happens, they seem to get their way through. So for them, this won't be any different to the quarterfinal or the semi-final because it's another knockout, and they are the best. They have proved to be the best team in Europe, if not the world, multiple times over the last decade. So, and a lot of these players have been involved in it, the likes of Modric. I mean, I think he was there for when they won the first European Championship back in 1954, whatever. But yeah, this is what City have to do. And that tremendous treble season that you mentioned a couple of years ago, it was beating the likes of Madrid.
It's a great point as well about how good they are at knockouts because they're currently not top of La Liga. They had a draw at the weekend against Osasuna and Barcelona went above them. It is on goal difference, but they're not currently top. They've given up, I think it was a 7-point lead they had at the top of the table. But when it comes to knockout competitions, their mentality is just something different, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, as Jim was kind of alluded to, you know, over the years we've seen Madrid and you think, well, that's them out. You know, they've got a second leg to play, but they're pretty much done. And then they'll keep going. They get some dramatic late goals. I mean, you just look at the game against us just the other week when 2-1 down, and then they scored 2 late goals. In the last one, Bellingham in the 90+ something minutes. So they have got this mentality of just constantly knocking on the door and constantly trying to break you down. I don't think tonight's going to be any different. But for me, this tie, I'm really looking forward to it because it's just so open. I think some people are saying, well, obviously Madrid's got the 3-2 lead, they're playing at home. I think they're susceptible, very, very much so susceptible to conceding a goal. And whilst they are classed as favourites, I think a lot of the Madrid players, even though they're very experienced, they'll be thinking, this for us is a potential banana skin because when they look at the Man City team, they'll be like, they've got players to hurt us.
The closer we get to kick-off, the more hopeful I get, and it is the hope that kills you after all, isn't it? But it feels to me like that they are susceptible, and if we get the 1 goal, and of course then it's 3-0 on aggregate, I feel like the atmosphere in there will change and the nerves will kick in, and we know that the fans there, if they don't like what they're seeing, they make it well known. So it does feel susceptible. Okay, but then you look at the team and you remind them and you come back down because when you look at that front three that they have, obviously it's phenomenal. Interesting that Jude Bellingham was sent off at the weekend. Of course, it's been a very interesting story about what he did or did not say in English, but he has been given a 2-game suspension. It is only for domestic competition, so it doesn't affect him in the Champions League. So he knows that the next 2 games that Real Madrid are going to play domestically, he is not going to be there for. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that'll spur him on a bit more tonight. No effect.
No. I mean, it's such a interesting position we're in here, isn't it? Because the 1-0 win and then we go to extra time and all the... extra time, isn't it? Yeah. The one flaw, if I'm allowed to say, that Jude Bellingham does have is, I think, his stamina. And if it goes to extra time, and Jude Bellingham... I mean, I'm saying this is 90th minute, but if it's extra time, I think there is a chance that Jude Bellingham will start lagging a little bit or flagging a little bit, and the likes of Erling Haaland, and maybe part of the decision making for him not to start is that Pep's thinking we can win this game. Are we going to win it by 2? Therefore, if we win it by 1, are we going to go to extra time? Erling Haaland will be more impactful later on in the game than he would be trying to start a game and stay throughout it. He is a fantastic player, potential Ballon d'Or future winner in Jude Bellingham. But I don't think he's got it in his game to say, I'm going to try extra hard now because I've got a couple of weeks off. I think you're going to get Jude Bellingham being Jude Bellingham.
Just on that goal there, do you think Vinicius Junior's tried to score, or has he played Bellingham in?
I think he's tried to score, because you can tell by his face, it was kind of like, oh, that hasn't gone where I wanted it to go, and then was probably very grateful that Jude was sprinting through.
What did you think, Steve?
I think he's gone to score, and I think when he's looked at it, he'd probably say to people that I've meant to do that. But it's probably just as well that Bellingham is there, because
he looks round.
Yeah.
He's got like,
when you miss a chance like that, if you miss a chance like that, you know, on a game which is so tight and it's kind of inches either way, that would have been a big miss going into the second into tonight's game. But yeah, he's definitely tried to score there.
I can't tell you how upset, the level of upset I was after that game, by the way. Just seeing that goal back is just, I feel like I'm going to well up with tears again because of how well I felt we played in parts of the last game, particularly in the first half. And that's why I'm so calm and collected today, because all of the sadness and all of the anger and all of the upset came out last Tuesday night. You did not want to be in my house when I got home last Tuesday night. There was lots of kicking and banging and yes. And I think that's why I feel so calm now, though. How are you feeling in general about this game tonight, then? Are you on the same page as me in terms of calmness?
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about your mood there, because were City to have won last week, then we would be going in, or last match, we'd be going into this going, oh yeah, great, all we need to do is defend the lead, and if we don't lose, then we go through. And I think that's the most dangerous position to be in, because then Madrid only have one goal, that is to beat you. At the moment, it's, well, they don't have to win either, so they don't have to go 100%, which means that Manchester City, if they do what they did for the first 75 minutes of that game at least, can beat Real Madrid. Then all of a sudden, your crowd that you mentioned, I've been in the Bernabeu when the crowd haven't been happy, and people were always telling me beforehand that Madrid fans are amazing. I was like, no, they're not. They're quite harsh. But he can get the team going. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I'm confident.
Steve?
I think if the score had stayed 2-1, you're kind of going into the game, and I think you're a little bit nervous. I think a little bit more nervous, because you're thinking, you know, how do we play this? Do we hold on? Do we go for broke? You know, how do we play our hand here? And I think, but looking at now, it's 3-2, obviously, and they've got that deficit. City just need to, you know, be nice and solid at the back, but ultimately, can we be on the front foot? And as you sort of said, there was lots of times in the first leg, City were brilliant. And I think if they show that and then get that early goal, as Jim just mentioned about the fans, can turn a little bit naughty in there. So, you know, when they've got that and they can, you're able to hear the fans, you're thinking, right, I tell you what, we've got the backs against the wall here. So, you know, can we just push on? So I'm confident tonight.
This is not fair. I'm getting more and more hopeful the closer we get to the game. So that is David and Steve's thoughts ahead of the game tonight. Now, yesterday after the press conference, we spoke to some of the media to get their views on how tonight might go.
I thought that Pep was as confident as he can be. You know, he said he laid it out quite simply, saying these are the kind of games that you have to play in the Champions League if you want to win it. These are the kind of atmospheres you have to play in if you want to be one of the best teams in the world. You know, this isn't the first time they've experienced it. They've been here plenty of times in the last few years. You know, scored 3 here last year and were very unlucky to lose and to draw, and then they've obviously won here in the past as well.
Yeah, it's a very different feeling, isn't it, to the one that sort of finished the game last Tuesday, and I think that win against Newcastle has given everybody a little bit of belief, of course. You know. I like the energy, so I'm very curious to see how this weird lightness about City coming here without the pressure of having to defend an advantage, but also trying not to mix urgency with rush. This is going to be a different, even though it looks like the same. Oh, City and Madrid again, Bernabeu. It's a different, I don't know, different context.
I think he feels there's a new energy in the side with the new signings. A couple of them may play. Let's see if Haaland is not ready to play. It may just be Mamouche number 9, and there's a different problem to Rudiger, because Rudiger likes the battle, the physical battle, and so on. But if Mamouche is all over the place, let's see how Rudiger feels, deals with that.
For all that City's problems this season, which of course are well documented, they've scored a lot of goals recently, and they'll fancy the chances of coming here and scoring goals. Whether they can keep them out the other end is probably the key to it.
So they've got to shut out that atmosphere. Remember what it was like last year here with the roof closed. The roofs will be closed again tomorrow apparently. So it's going to be a really noisy atmosphere. And he's right. You look to your senior players, I guess, to deliver that kind of performance of personality. Someone like Bernardo Silva, who was here tonight, had that responsibility of talking to the press, and he did it very well. And he's a very sort of cool customer under pressure. And people like De Bruyne as well. He'll be looking to them to bring their personality into the game and really affect it.
I've got the impression that there will be, as we say in Spanish, curves. There'll be moments where and Real Madrid could just follow up the curve, and City could take advantage of it. This is not done. It's one goal separating both sides. I do believe that there is goals in both sides as well, and they both concede chances. There was a tired Manchester City in the first leg. I just feel like really mentally they changed, and it feels like you've got nothing to lose, and that is a great approach to come at the Santiago Bernabeu.
Thank you very much. As you can see, I'm joined by 3 absolute legends pitchside here at the Bernabeu. We're going to be we're going to try and dissect what's going to happen this evening. Jolien, from a Manchester City perspective, how are we feeling?
Excited, nervous. I think them emotions are standard here. Again, you're expecting a great game of football, exciting game, but it doesn't tend to be the right side of excitement for Manchester City and the fans. So, yeah, it's going to be tense, but it's where stars are born, isn't it?
I mean, it is where stars are born, Steph. I mean, listen, from back to what he was saying, from a defensive point of view, how important is it that we don't concede the first goal in this game and potentially get an early start?
I think the first goal is important. I think if Manchester City can get that first goal, I think this game is then wide open. But we know the strengths of Real Madrid in terms of Vinicius, Mbappe, who was so good in that first leg at home at the Etihad. So we know what they're capable of, and they're dangerous. But hopefully we've got a few bodies back that can help with that.
And Steve as well, this place so well. I mean, the roof is on, the screens are looking great, this place looks incredible. From a player's perspective, from the Real Madrid side to play here as a Real Madrid player, how special are nights like these?
Well, they're synonymous really with the Champions League, aren't they, Real Madrid? They focused completely on this tournament. It's a pity that Real Madrid and Manchester City are meeting so early on, and everybody really is waiting for the teams to arrive. We want to know who's playing. Real Madrid have got Rudiger back training, they've got Alaba back training, but whether they play any of them, are City going to play Mamouche up with Haaland and be a little bit more offensive in that respect? So it should be a great game. They go at it. These two teams haven't got a defensive bone in the body, really. So we expect goals, don't we? And it's just which way the goals will fall. City were on top until 85 minutes. And that last 5 minutes at the Etihad just changed the complexion of the game. That could easily happen in City's favour this evening. So that's what you'd have to hope for.
You can actually hear the Real Madrid fans outside the stadium already making a lot of noise. Is that normally what happens as players arrive out here? The fans all wait for them?
Yes, you'll see it actually on the big screens. No doubt they'll show it on the big screens. Their journey from Valdebebas, which is their training ground, onto the coach, and then here, and all the players, all the fans will wait outside and make a raucous reception for them when they arrive. But that goes with every team nowadays, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, City take a lot of confidence from the way that they played in parts of the first leg. And how do you think they'll approach it?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, I don't think the result was the necessarily right one for the performance City put in, but again, it's Real Madrid. It's never over, and I also believe from the level of confidence they can take from the weekend as well. I know it was obviously the Premier League where we have been inconsistent, but looking in control throughout a longer period of the game, whether we kept a clean sheet or not, we just looked like we was in control. So that's where I think you probably gain the most confidence, is the element of control, not necessarily the results.
Now, Steph, Nico Gonzalez, there was a lot of talk about him after the game. Our new signings seem to perform really, really well. Do you expect this to be a big occasion in which he'll play tonight?
I think he'll play, yes. I think especially after Saturday, I think well, like Jolien said, I think City looked a lot more comfortable having that body just in front of the back four and being able to kind of do the things that we probably don't appreciate. But when you're on the pitch and you're playing with someone like that, they stop a lot of attacks, and that's going to be crucial tonight. So I can see him playing, and it's just going to be interesting who plays behind him, whether it's going to be the likes of Diaz. Is Ake going to come back in, or who's going to play right back? I think that's always going to be the question, especially against Vinicius. So I'm excited to see him play, but I think the boy looks good, and I'm excited to see him against one of the best players in the world in terms of Bellingham as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Real Madrid on nights like these as well, Steve, do they sort of prepare for this like it's a special occasion, or just sort of business as usual here?
Yes, to a certain extent. I think Real Madrid's form going into the Etihad wasn't particularly sparkling at all, and they turned it on in that game. You know, at the weekend they weren't great. You know, against Espanyol a couple of weeks ago they struggled. But once the Champions League comes around, it's as if the La Liga's an afterthought. You know, we'll be fine in that. We'll deal with that when we need to deal with it. Today's the day. The Champions League's the big one, and City, certainly with Pep's relationship with Carlo as well, it's something special. As I said, it's a pity they're meeting again. They've met so often, but sometimes that's what happens, and it'll be a big blow to lose one of the teams, won't it? Because these two teams tonight don't exit this competition this early on, so it's going to be a blow for either manager who goes tonight.
Jolien, how are you feeling then, like, about the game overall from a City perspective? There seems to be a little bit of belief here. I mean, we expect there to be goals like there was, you know, in previous encounters, in particular one a couple of weeks ago. With us having that deficit, does that relieve a little bit of the pressure, do you think?
It can do. You can look at it like that. Hopefully there's a little bit of complacency in the Madrid camp. But like Steve said, like, both teams are susceptible to conceding, so hopefully we can pray on that. But on the flip side, if we were coming here, we were talking about it before, on a 10-game winning streak, we're not saying we wouldn't be favourites. So this isn't an easy place to come to and guarantee a result. Granted, our backs are against the walls, and we know what we have to do in regards to win the game, but that doesn't guarantee anything, especially in this place.
Steve, I've got a question. You know, when you join this club, is the mentality, especially around this competition, do you just feel that instantly as a player?
Yes.
I'm just saying it because we walked in the press conference and you can see every trophy that when we were like, oh my God, could this be intimidating as a opposition player? But as a player of Real Madrid, you must be thinking, oh my God.
Absolutely, Steph. And because sort of, you know what the Spanish leagues are like. Real Madrid are always first, second or third, like Barcelona are. So they've dominated La Liga. So this is the one they haven't dominated. So their focus comes onto the Champions League. They won it in '98 and I joined in '99, and it was instantly, you have to do it again, you have to do it again. And since then they've just rolled on, haven't they? And we've seen on many times this place is almost magical at times. You know, the games we've seen here in the past against Manchester City, against Chelsea, last year against Bayern Munich, unbelievable games that you don't think should happen, and it happens constantly here. So they've certainly got an affinity with it, and they do pinpoint this trophy more than anything else, more than La Liga, more than the Copa del Rey. They're nothing. We want to win this trophy because this makes them the best in Europe and principally the best in the world when they play the Club World Continental Cup.
Well, let's move on then, shall we? How's Madrid been for you, Jolien? Have you had a good couple of days here? Steve, you've been showing Jolien around. You must know the area quite well.
No comments. No comments after last night. Yeah, I had a good night out, met some old friends.
Was it good, yeah?
Good night all day.
Good day. Good day and night last night, mate.
Yeah, no, just the weather though. Just seeing blue skies and sun. It is nice.
We said exactly the same.
It's nice.
It's lovely and
makes you feel good.
Just walking down to the stadium from the hotel in this lovely weather, and let's just hope it's an amazing game tonight.
Yeah, let's hope so indeed. I mean, that leads us on to our next segment, which is me and Steph having a lot of fun in Madrid. So I think we're going to head over there now.
All right, it's match day in Madrid, Steph. I feel like now's a good time for us to have a little bit of a coffee and catch up, and then go and see some sights.
Yes, definitely coffee needed. Let's go.
What have you got for us? Yeah, we want 2 flat whites, please.
Yeah.
Gracias.
As if we have the same coffee order as well.
I know, yeah, same coffee order.
It's just like we're meant to be in here, Madrid.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you. Look at that.
I've got a leaf, and you've got a love heart.
Oh, you're too
There you go.
kind.
I'd love to see it.
Cheers, everyone.
Well, we're going to have a sit down and have a catch up, so we'll see you there. It's been a good trip so far.
Has been good, you know. I've really enjoyed it. You guys are great as well, and
well, you're great as well, like an absolute legend of the game. I don't think you realise how important you've been for the history of not just women's football. We're going to see a lot of sights in Madrid.
I can't wait. It's lovely around here as well.
We're going to talk about the first game as well whilst we're there. But for now, we're going to finish our coffees and we'll catch up with you at the first location.
See you soon.
All right, we have arrived at our first location, Gran Via. If you look behind us, it's a very famous Metropolis building. This place is unreal, by the way, isn't it?
It is, especially when the sun's out as well, but yeah, so cool.
Listen, let's talk about the first leg then. We have to address it, of course. We lost the game 3-2, but I still think there was a lot of positives to take.
Yeah, I think especially if you take away them last 10 minutes, I think for a City performance over the last few months, I think the boys did really well, especially John Stones in the middle of the park. He's my favourite player.
And obviously from Erling Haaland's perspective, how important is it that he's got over that sort of, a lot of talk, despite him having a ridiculous goal-scoring record. He finally scored against Real Madrid, not once, but twice.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you don't actually, underestimate what he actually does for the team. I think he allows the likes of Foden to get on the ball, and yeah, to see him score, I think that should give him confidence. Look, I think when Haaland's in your team, I think as Real Madrid, you need to keep an eye on him, definitely.
Look, I feel so good, like, speaking to you. It's so good. You can tell why. She had such an amazing career and she was wearing the armband for club and country. We're going to head over to the next spot now and we're going to talk about tonight's game. All right, here we are at Cibeles Fountain. It's a pretty iconic place in Madrid. Listen, we found out loads about Madrid. We've done some amazing sightseeing. We've had some nice coffee. But now we're going to find out about you. We've got loads of quick-fire questions that's been written out by our producer.
Isn't
there is a lot, but the handwriting is unbelievable. I'm going to just show the camera real quick. Majestic. That's like, honestly, that's like when you're on Word and it's just perfect. Okay, quick fire, which means quick fire answers, right? No thinking time.
I'm nervous.
Here we go. What do you do for a living?
Pundit.
Pundit, ex-pro, love it. What was your first job?
Working in a clothes shop.
What was the clothes shop?
Sports soccer.
Oh, love it, okay.
I used to do a delivery shift on a Saturday morning, so there you go.
And let's start from the bottom now, we're here, right? What's your favourite season?
Summer.
Don't blame me, it feels like
we're
in summer right now. What's your first football memory?
Watching Sunderland in the playoff final against Charlton, getting beat. Cried my eyes out, so yeah.
Favourite football player of all time?
Oh, David Beckham.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, of course, this is a good one because you've had loads. What's your best moment in a City shirt?
Wow. Win the league with City.
Oh, yeah, of course. So we love it. Do you have a nickname?
Skip. You've called us Skip quite a few times today, so yeah, I'll have to say that, yeah.
That's a good nickname to have, actually. If you had to do another job that wasn't to do with football, what would it be?
I think I'd be a teacher, I think.
Oh, yeah, I feel like you'd be a good teacher as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, prediction for the game?
City, 2-0.
2-0 to City, right, okay, look. I'm going a bit off script here. What a legend you are.
Oh, yeah, chuck that away, come on.
Yeah, we'll forget about that for it. Let's just take a selfie and capture this moment in Madrid.
How many times have we seen FG taking selfies on this show this year, by the way?
Loves a selfie, doesn't he?
Loves a selfie.
That looks very precarious as well, with the cars going past so close.
FG will do anything for his art. Thank you very much to FG and to Steph. I loved that. Loved seeing them going around Madrid as well. We've worked them hard today, by the way. Wow, big shout out to them. So here are the live shots from inside the Bernabeu, an 8 p.m. kickoff. So 25 minutes now until the Champions League. City, of course, taking on Real Madrid, hoping to overturn that 3-2 aggregate score from the Etihad last week as well. Loved some of the questions that FG was asking Steph there as well. What's Steph's favourite season? What's your favourite season, David James?
1992.
Thank you. I like you were going to say that. Appreciated that. Lovely. So welcome you just joining us to Matchday Live today. So City hoping tonight for a very, very famous comeback. Could indeed be one of the great Champions League comebacks. But of course, we are a club that loves a comeback. We have some of the greatest comebacks in football history. And we have had many a good comeback in the Champions League as well. So we thought we'd take this opportunity just to refresh everybody's memories about some of the great Champions League comebacks that we've had. Just in case you had any doubt that we couldn't do it tonight, we just thought we'd refresh you and just make you feel even more hopeful. So let's have a look at some of the games where City have had comebacks in the Champions League, gents. So first of all, we're going to take you back to 2014. 2014, City are playing Bayern Munich. It's the group stages. We have gone down. Bayern Munich are leading. We have to win this game or we will not get out of the group. So, David, who steps up? Sergio Aguero, hat-trick, David. What a man.
What a player. I think he's deserving of a statue outside the Etihad Stadium.
I would agree. I would give him one, 100%. But a hat-trick in this game, David. Could you see maybe a Marmoush hat-trick tonight and emulate this?
Well, if we get to quickly touch on Marmoush, if he's on free kicks and Kevin De Bruyne is not in the starting lineup, then I fancy him scoring a free kick.
Okay. A free kick for Marmoush, you heard it here. Love that knee slide from Sergio Aguero. God, I miss that man so much, Steve. But of course, a reminder there that he had a night of magic. He got 3 goals that night. It just needs one of our players to step up tonight and be that world-class level.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, growing up as a kid, these are the games you dream about playing in, and I'm sure as a kid, when you dream about these games, you're the star person, you're the one that gets the winning goal or winning goals. So it's perfectly set up for somebody to be an absolute superstar.
Somebody to do a Sergio Aguero tonight. We're having it. OK, let's look at another one. So this was Pep Guardiola's very first season, and he was playing Barcelona in the Champions League group stages, and we went 1-0 down. But do you know what the final score was? 3-1. And look at baby Gundogan there and baby Kev in the background as well. And of course, Gundogan playing tonight. So, David, we could have a Gundogan emulating this.
I think if 3 goals are going to be scored, you can share them around. But, I mean, what an assist. He does look... Yeah, he does look young there, doesn't he?
Look how young Kev looks in the background as well. Wow. Those two, Kev could come on, they could link up, they could do it again.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, absolutely no reason why not. I mean, 2 quality players. I mean, you don't lose that quality. I mean, you might use a yard, but you've still got that ability on the ball, and both of them still got that.
I am really doing my best here, everybody, to get everybody in the belief mode that I now have. OK, so if you weren't believing yet, let's go back to a game that we played against Real Madrid in the Champions League, where we were down. And we went on to win, and this was in the Bernabeu. So, another penalty, David, just to follow your belief there about Real Madrid. So we were 1-0 down. We ended up winning the game 2-1 with a Kevin De Bruyne penalty. It can be done, David.
That's bizarre. Courtois dived the same way. He only conceded 3 of the penalties. It was Lunin who conceded one in the Spanish Cup, but they all dived to the left. Ooh.
And let's hope we get some close-ups like that tonight of upset Real Madrid fans. So it can be done. Real Madrid can be beaten in the Bernabeu even when they've taken the lead. OK, I've got one more for you. If you don't believe me yet, I have one more for you. So, of course, City played Dortmund in the Champions League. Erling Haaland's first season at City, and this was the game where we really, if we didn't already believe, we really found out how special this man was. So, do you remember this if I say Cancelo? Do you remember the goal?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is a great ball in the outside of his foot. And then I can remember talking about this and just how ridiculous it was that he got his leg up into that position. I mean, most people would have tried to use the head. But, yeah.
Backheeling it in.
That's scary. But what a ball. I mean, as I say, outside of the foot, bends it in there. Yeah.
Now, do you both remember? So that was the group stage. Dortmund took the lead. We went on to win that game. And do you remember what happened that season? We went on to win the Champions League. Just saying, everybody. Just saying. When Dortmund were ahead, do you think many people would have thought we were going to go on and win the Champions League? But we did. So if you weren't already feeling optimistic, has that helped?
Absolutely. I mean, it just shows anything can be done in a competition. Anything can be done on a one-off game, because ultimately this is a one-off game. You know, if you're going to win competitions, you're going to have to face adversity somewhere along the line, and you're going to have to beat a very, very good team. Well, all of them are very good teams, let's be honest. But you know, you've got to go somewhere and get a result that people thought you'd kind of not expecting it. So this definitely could be the night for City.
I think your optimism is radiating brighter than the sparkles on your collar.
Oh, thanks very much, David. Thanks, I'll take that. I hope that optimism is radiating out into your homes around the world as well, wherever you are. Now, thousands and thousands of City fans have made the trip out to the Spanish capital for tonight's game. And I told you we worked FG and Steph hard today. I do hope Steph comes back, you know, because we really have made her work hard today. And they went out and they met a few of the fans that are out there in Madrid.
All right, okay, here we are in the middle of Madrid. Loads of City fans behind us, loads going on. Steph's found a ball. First touch challenge.
Yeah, we're in front of all this.
In front of all the fans. How about we start with you then? Let's see how your test is. Here we go.
Go on then.
Ah! Go again. Right, here we go again. There you go. Love it. Yeah, never mind. Let's go and find some fans and see who's got the best first touch. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Right, here we go. The future.
Ready?
Let's see your
Just
first touch,
control it, yeah? Ready? Yes, we'll take that. Do you want another go? Yeah, you're lefty, yeah? Yes.
Come on then, feet. Let's have a look.
You're right-footed. No, how do you want it?
Oh,
right, okay then, ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Go on, we've got another one.
Here we go. Another one coming. Yes, Jensen. Here we
Ready?
go, mate.
Oh. Ready?
Yeah, easy.
Ah, we'll take that.
The
Jensen,
future.
are you right-footed
Come
or
on, Jensen.
left-footed? Ready? Yes.
We love it. Nice, thank you. Right, you're from Brazil, you're Savinho's friend, so Savinho's got an unbelievable first touch. So hopefully you've taught him everything he knows, right? Let's have a look and see what it's like then.
You right-footed?
Oh!
Here you go.
Good. Well done, thank you.
I am retired. Do you want to
Yeah, come on then, mate.
go? Come on.
Come on, son. How are you,
Ready?
mate? Hey! How are you, mate? Good to see you. You all right?
Let's have one more
Well done. Are you okay?
Let's
Do you
have
want
one
to go? Ready?
Yep.
Yay!
Hey! Good to see you, Harry, mate. Top man. What a guy.
Nice to meet you.
This
You
man
okay?
travels to every single
Do
week.
you,
Come from
yeah?
Hull, right?
Yeah, Hull, mate.
He's all the way from Hull every week.
Come and get.
No, I'm joking. Right, okay. Here we go. Right, we can boo him,
no,
by the
come
way. Yeah, we'll boo. Right, no pressure.
Ready?
He's got his. I like it. Well
Fair
done,
play.
mate. Top man. Yeah.
You
Okay,
first,
we'll
yeah.
go first, yeah?
Ready?
Come on, mate. Yes.
I think we should do no knees.
That was too easy, you know.
No
He
knees.
said no knees, right? All right.
Ready?
Captain spoken.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Ready? Oh.
Oh. Yeah?
Oh, he wants to go again.
He's a star boy, him, by the way. Look. Loves it.
Tricks. Oh.
Yes, we love it.
Done.
Right, okay,
Come on
yeah, we
in.
can have one, but listen, we're going to close off with this man because he was class. We're taking a selfie. But, there's the ball gone. There we go. Listen, a lot of fun in Madrid.
Yep.
Ready for the game tonight?
Yeah, excited now.
We're going to win.
Come on, the
We'll go
boys.
through. All right, well, come on, City.
Come on,
Let's have a
City.
go, shall we?
Another selfie. We're all thinking it, right? Another selfie.
Loves it.
Loves a selfie, does that man, FG. That was brilliant. I love that Steph was commanding and telling everybody what to do as well. And also, I love the fact that when the Madrid fan came up in the shirt, she chucked it in the air as well. I was absolutely having that. So shout out to FG and to Steph, who are over in Madrid and seem like they've had a brilliant but hard-working day today. So if you're just joining us, starting 11 is on your screen there. Less than 15 minutes away from today's 8 p.m. kickoff. As always, you will get full match commentary on the City app. It is Alistair Mann and Nikki Weaver who will be taking you through tonight's game. Now, we have mentioned a few times Omar Marmoush this evening, of course. He got his first ever career hat-trick on Saturday in City's game against Newcastle. I mean, what a way to announce yourself to the Premier League, but also his first ever career hat-trick. Just phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. Now, he is going to be playing tonight, but Erling Haaland, if you're wondering, he is on the bench. Pep Guardiola has said in his pre-match interview that he was not feeling 100%. He did train yesterday, but today he didn't feel totally right. So, Marmoush is playing, Foden is playing. I would like you to predict for me who is the false nine?
I think it'll probably be Marmoush with Phil out left. However, I would prefer Phil in that position and Marmoush on the left because I think Marmoush is quicker than Phil. And I think that Madrid will give up opportunities in wide positions, especially with Eddie. I mean, we just saw Eddie there. And with what Eddie did on the weekend, I mean, his delivery for the goal, Mamouche's assist was one thing, but there was a number of times where he's put the ball into the corners, allowing the likes of Savinho to run onto them. I think that's going to be a key. So Pep will probably put him in the middle. Mamouche, that is, false 9, but I think put him out left.
I think with that one, I think if he plays Phil in the middle, it basically takes away Rudiger's strength, which would be the physicality of like a Haaland and stuff like that. He wants that battle. Whereas if he's playing somebody like Phil, who's going to be dropping in the pockets, possibly, he's not wanting to go in there, really. And even if he comes up against him, he's not getting the physicality that he wants, that he craves, because he does crave that. He does like that battle when he's not going to get it. So you're basically taking away his power if you have somebody like Phil in there.
And he'll have to chase him back.
Okay.
And foul him in the box.
And get a penalty. Who do you want to take that?
Mamouche, although he has missed one this season.
Oh, oh gosh, David. Okay, you really have done your stato checks for today.
Yeah, but kind of built us up there, then just come crashing down. Mamouche is all like definite, and then he has missed one.
But Erling's missed as well, so it's not as if everyone's 100%. But what's interesting about Mamouche is that. And I remember when we signed him, we had the conversation in this very studio that he had 71 shots halfway through the season, which is a staggering. I thought Cancelo was a high shooter, but this is a staggering amount of shots. Today's game, the opportunity is all right in his eyes to have shots, and it's whether or not. And again, if you put him on the left or on the wing, then the shot options are limited. Keep him in the middle, and the opportunities are going to come up left, right, and centre. And he doesn't mind shooting. The only player on the pitch who shoots from further out is Rudiger.
Is that true?
Oh yeah. One shot a game is a Rudiger average, and it's usually from 40 yards.
Okay, there you go. You see the detail you get on this programme, it's like nowhere else. In terms of, let's talk more about Mamouche and his positioning then in our prediction, because as we saw him on Saturday when Erling Haaland was playing, so we saw what he was like playing with Erling Haaland or off Erling Haaland. With him not on the pitch tonight, with there being no out-and-out number 9 on the pitch, how do you think Omar Mamouche plays tonight from what you've seen of him?
Well, touching what Steve said there, I mean, when you've got the out-and-out number 9 Erling Haaland style, then Rudiger's in there, physical, you effectively clog the play. You see how Erling just dropped into that hole there, which creates the space in behind for Mamouche to run into. I think coming off the wing, you're asking multiple defenders multiple questions rather than the one man you're stood next to as a number 9. I think that, as I say, if you play Phil sort of popping. I mean, we know how City are. We know how versatile and interchangeable the front players are. Even with Savinho, he can play either side. So I think you play him out wide. You ask the question of the likes of Rudiger. Does he go out and try and double up when Mamouche or even with Phil Foden? You know, I'd prefer Mamouche than I'm saying. Does Rudiger go out there and double up to try and stop the attack, which then frees up space behind Rudiger? There's a lot more questions that this Real Madrid defence are going to have to ask themselves in the game than having Erling quite linear through the middle, which is Rudiger's playground. It becomes a physical battle. The ball and the game will break down a lot around anyone who Rudiger's marking. So, I mean, the other interesting thing is he's only had 3 shots on target for Manchester City.
And 3 goals?
3 goals.
It's fine with me.
Just hit the target. His free kicks are good.
Consistent.
His penalties are pretty good, except for the one he missed. And when he hits the target, he generally scores. So, yeah.
Oh, I hope we're seeing him score, rattle the back of that net tonight, David O. Really do there. Of course, worth noting as well that Real Madrid have rushed Rudiger back. He has been out with injury. He's back tonight, and presumably they rushed him back thinking that he was going to have that physical battle again with Erling Haaland. So it'll be really interesting to see how this goes. In terms of our defence, Ruben Diaz is back, which is obviously a great relief for everybody. Are we presuming that it'll be Kushinov who plays at right back and John Stones, Diaz in the middle?
I'd be surprised if it isn't that way. I mean, you never know, but I would have thought that would be the case. I mean, we do know how good John is at coming forward with the ball as well and breaking into that midfield, how he's done it, so well for a number of seasons now. So I'd be very surprised if it's not that. But I would like John Stones again to do what he does very, very well, as I said, which is bringing that ball in and being an extra player.
Kusanov obviously had a great game at the weekend, David. How are you feeling about him as a right back, given the attacking strength that they have, you know, in one of his first games for the club?
Like you said half an hour ago, I mean, his pace is the key to this. And I think if we can just mention, I want to say, is he a form player or is he on loan? Carl Walker. I mean, when you've got the reassurance or the insurance, I say, of pace, then you've got more flexibility in what you do. I think if you haven't got that pace, the threat of Vinicius, the threat of Mbappe on that side, Valverde as well. I mean, these are proper quick players. When you've got that pace, you can allow yourself a little bit more going forward. He should be able to cover, and you don't get signed for Man City if you're not capable of handling the big occasion. And as Uzbekistan's key player in the Premier League, or the only player in the Premier League, this is an opportunity to add another string to his bow to be, I think, would he be Uzbekistan's first? No, he must be one of the first to get into the knockout stages of the Champions League. So
must be.
Yeah.
Very proud nation indeed.
Indeed.
And of course, just remember, as we are continuing to try and build up the optimism tonight, City last one at the Bernabeu playing a false nine. And of course, that was Bernardo Silva on that occasion. So we look forward to seeing how that is going to set up tonight. Gents, give me a score prediction, please.
I was going to say 2-1 City, which means extra time. So anyone who wants an early night...
OK, and then give me a prediction after that.
Penalties.
And then give me a prediction after that.
All to the left, quarter all to the right.
And then give me a prediction after that.
City win on penalties.
That's what I wanted. Steve?
I was going to go 2-1, but since Jimo's done that one, I'm going to go 3-1.
In 90?
Mm-hmm.
To City?
Mm-hmm.
Hoo-hoo, my optimism is rubbing off on everybody. I like this. Gents, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Steve, for being here. We appreciate the effort hugely. Thank you very much, David. As always, there we go. The teams are coming out in a minute. How are you all feeling? I hope you are feeling much more optimistic than you were perhaps a couple of hours ago. Enjoy the game, Blues. Get the full match commentary with Alistair Mann and Nikki Weaver. We'll be here at half-time and full-time. And just a pre-warning, at full-time, if I am crying my eyes out on the floor here or jumping up and down, you know what's happened, and I'm sure you'll all be doing it as well. Everything crossed for tonight, Blues. We'll see you at half-time and at full-time. Oh, it's going to be a good one.
Very warm welcome to the Bernabeu. The two sets of players are making their way to the mouth of the tunnel, down the steps from the dressing room in this famous stadium on a night of intense and potentially thrilling action. Everywhere you look, there are superstars. It's almost like a who's who of European football. The atmosphere is even noisier than normal, with the roof closed above this vast stadium. And the Real Madrid supporters are not hopeful, they are expectant. The most successful team in UEFA Champions League history. It is very rare for them to give up an advantage having won an away leg, but it has happened before, and the extraordinary change in atmosphere that night is something that maybe the Blues can prey upon this evening. These supporters, so used to success, when it starts to go wrong, they are not the most supportive. Can City just maybe create some doubts here and change the momentum of the tide? Well, last week Real Madrid celebrated their victory at the Etihad Stadium with the gusto of a side which felt they'd almost completed the job of knocking City out. A 3-2 lead to take back to the Bernabeu makes them overwhelming favourites, yet you underestimate City at your peril. Real Madrid may be the most successful team in Champions League history, but they have looked out of sorts in recent La Liga games. They are, after all, without a victory in February, and they've recently been overwhelmed here at home to both AC Milan in the Champions League and to Barcelona in La Liga. If the Blues can sow that seed of doubt, this vociferous crowd can become more of a hindrance than they are an assistance. And the two sets of players are lined up, the UEFA Champions League anthem bellowing. the talk around these parts has been about who they're likely to meet in the next round. Let us hope that that feeling of complacency is something that will come back and haunt them. The players of both sides know each other pretty well, but that said, it is a very different lineup that Real Madrid are up against to the one that they've been used to in recent seasons. Well, the club asked for permission to close the roof, despite the fact it hasn't rained here all day.